Dear friends, a very good afternoon and happy Sunday to you all. Welcome along to Matchday Live. Now, coming up against a team that maybe once upon a time might be considered a bit of a bogey team, well, we've soon changed that because Manchester City have won their last 7 Premier League matches against today's opponent, the Toffees, Everton, as we welcome them to the Etihad Stadium. And in those games, we've scored 21 times and conceded only 5. Interestingly, Everton have only lost 8 or more consecutive Premier League matches against an opponent. Once previously, they lost 9 in a row against Manchester United between December 1999 and February 2004. So we'll be looking to extend that run today. Hello and welcome along to Matchday Live. My name is Cel Spellman. I'm your host and so great to be with you as we take on Everton at the Etihad Stadium, 2 o'clock kickoff. Thank you for joining us as you always do. Now joining me in the studio, we've got the perfect guests for today's game because not only are they Manchester City legends but also both played for Everton. It gives me great pleasure to welcome along to the show Mr. Joleon Lescott and Richard Dunne. Gents, so great to be with you. How is it, Joleon, and for you, Richard, to see 2 teams that you both played for coming up against each other?
Yeah, obviously it means you'll be busy that weekend, work-wise, which is always nice. No, but yeah, obviously I enjoyed my time at Everton playing-wise. So, yeah, I'd like to see them do well to a certain aspect, but again, it doesn't compare to my time here. So there's only one team I want to win today. So we like to hear. Thanks,
Joleon. And for yourself, Rich, I mean, did you have good memories as well? Obviously at City, but also for Everton as well.
Yeah, I was very lucky. Everton gave me a chance to play in England, to play football, and made my debut there in English football. And I grew up as a 16-year-old, moving country to come and live in Liverpool. And the way they treated me was brilliant, you know. So, like Joleon, you have respect for Everton. I really like them. I hope they wish them well, but the majority and the most enjoyable part of my career was here, so that's where my loyalty lies now.
Yeah, and I wondered, obviously I think they've got a few injuries and we're going to bring you the Everton team news in just a bit, but what have you made just initially of Everton so far under Rafa Benitez?
If you look at it as a whole, probably roughly where I expected it to be, but if you divide it into 2 parts, the start was really good, and then recently they haven't been performing as well as they would have expected, the fans or the players, and this is potentially a dangerous game because I think his style suits a team like Man City's. He doesn't want to have possession. He just wants to kind of be hard to beat and hard to break down and then obviously counter-attack. But overall, I think he's a better suit or better fit to the squad of players that Everton have than Ancelotti.
Yes.
I just think his style and understanding of that calibre of player is different to Ancelotti's.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess as well, actually, I think, we've probably seen glimpses, as you said, probably the injuries haven't helped them, Richard, to try and actually build upon maybe what Rafa was kind of starting with when he first joined.
Yeah, you see with Benitez at Newcastle how he wants to play. It was first and foremost defensive solidness and them trying to nick games and stuff. And I think Everton fans, as it goes on, they'll expect a little bit more. They want to see their team challenging higher up the league and going out to win matches rather than just survive and nick things. And he'll get away with it almost this year. And if he gets a solid defence and they pick up points, they'll be quite pleased. But eventually, I think he's going to have to turn Everton from what they are today into a more attacking and exciting team to watch.
And do you think Rafa can be the man to do that?
I think the team that he had at Liverpool, he done it. He turned them. They had some great players. They went forward, but they were really organised. And if he gets that base right with them, then he's got that groundwork to go and buy better, more exciting players and open up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, gents, you're with us all the way today, which will be music to the ears of all our City fans watching, and you can use that number right at the bottom there. That's our WhatsApp number, so that is how you can get involved with the show. You can let us know if you've got any thoughts or feelings on the things we're talking about. Also, it's how you can put our questions to our esteemed guests, so get those in. And I can also tell you we're playing a little game at the end of the show that you can get involved with. It's the old traditional game of high or low. I'll bring you more on that in a little bit, but if you want to play along, save the number and get involved. But here on Matchday Live, this is the first and only place where you can get Manchester City's team news. We are the first to it, so always come and join us, and I can bring you our starting 11 right now. Here it is. In goal, it's our Brazilian number 1, Edison, and a back 4 of Kyle Walker, John Stones and Aymeric Laporte, with João Cancelo over on the left-hand side. Rodri, a name that we're so used to seeing in our starting 11 in a holding role. We think partnered with Ilkay Gundogan, who is captaining the side along with Bernardo Silva. And a forward three of Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling, and making a Premier League start, one that we're all very excited to see, I'm sure. Cole Palmer is on the starting 11 today. On our bench today, we've got Zach Stefan, Scott Carson, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake, a man who loves scoring against Everton. More on that in a little bit. Gabriel Jesus is on there, Zinchenko, Fernandinho, Riyad Mahrez, and another name that's nice to see there, James McAtee. Got to begin, I think, with the name that most City fans are always excited to see on the bench. He's in the starting 11 today, Cole Palmer, Joleon. And what do you think we could see from him today?
He's a very talented player. Pleased for him. Worked with him, obviously, numerous times with the 21s and first-hand seen the technical ability he has, which is scary. He just has a natural balance that players tend to be born with. Yeah. So it'd be exciting to get him 1v1 and can create moments of brilliance out of nothing, to be honest. Obviously, potentially a tough task for him. Full debut. Hopefully the emotions don't override this kind of performance, but yeah, it's exciting to see him play.
So as well, I guess, kind of, Richard, for someone like Cole, you know, we spoke about kind of he's come on. We saw what he did in the Champions League, in the League Cup, but coming against a Rafa Benitez gritty Everton side, this is kind of, I guess, where you're going to learn your trade as you really kind of step up into the men's game from where he's played previously. Yeah,
it's all part of that learning progress, and we've seen it with Phil Foden. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a little bit of time, and I think for Cole, it's a case of going into this match, getting what you can out of it, and then but understanding when this match is over, he's not the finished article. He's still got lots of time and just more experiences. And an Everton side are normally very, very organised, very experienced team. So it'll be a tough ask for him. But the glimpses and the moments that we've seen from this season, he's been brilliant. So he's exciting.
Really, really is. And where can you see him playing, Joe? I mean, we know we've got such an interchangeable three. Yeah. You know, Foden's been out on the left and he's played in the middle. First of all, knowing Cole, where do you think he's best suited? But where could he play today as well?
Well, for England, he plays wide of a front three on the right-hand side. So he could definitely play there. Mm-hmm. He scored goals there. He's also played as a false nine for Man City, so he can definitely play there. And he came on against Club Brugge in midfield. So, as I said, he's going to be across the forward line. He's going to be asked to just express himself, because, as I said, like 1v1, he's very, very good, very comfortable in possession. So I expect to see him on the front line, and any of them roles he could operate.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a slight pause from here in the studio, because on co-commentary today with, of course, the legend that is Alistair Mann, it's going to be Sean Goach. Remember, you can get that commentary through the City app. But he's pitch side with Adam Monk, and here he is talking about his reaction to the starting 11.
Yes, guys, hello. So I am joined with Sean Goach here, who will be giving you the live commentary on the Man City app later on with Ali Mann. Now, Sean, let's get right into it. Cole Palmer, it's all I'm going to talk about. So he's in the team. How exciting is that?
Yes, it's really exciting news to have him in the team. He's a young prospect, but the quality that he offers, for me, I want to see more of him. I'm glad to see his involvement today. Him driving forward as a player, his awareness. I'm just looking forward to seeing a lot more of him.
And another thing, I mean, I don't really have the answer to it as well, because he can sort of play anywhere across that front three. Where do you think he'll play today, considering he'll be with Sterling and Foden as well?
Yeah, interesting, because I imagine he may be in the pocket, because with his quality to drive forward, make those driving runs. But the interesting thing, obviously I'm at the academy, and I get to see the development of how they develop players. They develop players to play in a number of positions, one or two positions, and he has that ability. So whether he's out wide or whether he's in the pocket, he has the ability to make the right decisions and still play well.
Yeah, I guess that's a Pep player, isn't it, now, a player that can play 5 or 6 positions. And we've got Raheem Sterling as well. Yeah. Starting today, he's had a slow start to the season, but he scored a goal against Bruges, and he looked good when he came on from that right-hand side. So big day for Sterling today.
Yes, big day. I think he'll be looking to. It's a lovely day for it. You know, as a wide player, he'll be wanting to get the ball, run at the defenders, get his game going. So I'm intrigued to see what Sterling gives us. I think Sterling will look to get back to his high levels.
Yeah, and as for Everton as well, bit of an unknown entity this season. They've had a few mixed results, sort of, mixed play style as well. What threat do you think they'll pose City today?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, any team that comes up against City, they understand that perhaps they're not going to have as much of the ball. I was actually speaking to Demai Gray, a family member of his, and he's saying how he actually enjoys Benitez as a manager and that he's a really good manager. So what he has to do is translate that to the rest of the team and get some consistency. In terms of what they will bring, Everton, I think they're going to bring some fight. They're going to bring a bit of quality, but they're not being consistent. So I see us, still winning this game comfortable.
And go on, I'll leave you with the score prediction before we finish off.
Well, for me, I'm going 3-0. I think we will set off exactly how we did with United. The game against United, we were absolutely awesome in terms of how we controlled the game, the tempo, we managed it, and I would anticipate much of the same today.
Well, there you go, 3-0. You heard it here from Sean, and you can hear him later on commentating on the Man City app with Ali Mann. Thanks, guys, and back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you. That was Adam Monk there. Pitch side with Sean Goater, also giving us a lovely 3-0 production to kick off the show, which we love. Maybe we'll come back to Raheem Sterling in just a second, but on the other side of the pitch, Richard, a name that we're always used to seeing, Ruben Diaz, is on the bench today, and we've seen it's actually Stones and a Laporte partnership. Do you think there's what the thinking might be there? I mean, is it kind of maybe Diaz rest from international break, or do we think Stones and Laporte kind of also have got a formidable partnership themselves?
I think so, but I think obviously Diaz has had an emotional week with Portugal. They've had some difficulties, so maybe that's taken a bit. But you've also got a huge game in midweek where you want them to be available. So it's like you're dropping an amazing player and bringing in two brilliant players. So do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a bit of nothing really. But I think Stones and Laporte, when they've played this season, they've been as solid as that. And so it's just a case of rotating. We're that lucky that we've got three world-class centre-halves to be able to do it with.
And I mean, it's an interesting conversation because I think there were times in previous seasons, I think if I even look back to the Mancini period, I remember as a fan you'd always want you and Vinny. But then sometimes you'd be kind of getting constant chop and change and no kind of regular partnership. But it seems with them three, it doesn't matter what the combination is, there is a solid structure there regardless of the changes around it.
Oh, definitely. I think Diaz has played a massive part in that. I think last year he's kind of solidified himself as the mainstay in that team, or the main part of that partnership, and both other players have performed well with him, but like Richard said then, I think now we're at a point where they're all operating at such a high level that there's not a weak link in the three. There's so many games, so many important games that you don't feel you're being dropped. Like, I'm sure he's disappointed he's not playing today, but if he plays against PSG, I'm sure he'll be back to his best, you know what I mean? So I think that's what Pep's done brilliantly, is that his rotation is so fluid that no one can get complacent. It also allows you to mentally stay focused, because I think that's hard when you're playing and you're thinking you're going to play, but you don't. I've been there, and you're trying to prepare, and then it's real low when you don't, you know what I mean? But as Pep's doing, he's rotating it so frequently that you get in that high. So you are staying focused and determined to play. Yeah, and it's one of those things, isn't it, where actually we haven't got one now strong starting 11. It's a strong squad to play in all four competitions. Well, unfortunately, 3 this season. But when there is kind of like that, all players, I guess, are happy to a degree. Yeah, definitely. Listen, all them players want to play today, the ones that are not starting, but they're aware that what's coming. Yes, it's equally important to today's game, and it's just credit to Pep and this group of players that they all remain focused all the time, and Pep's developing players as well as not just relying on world-class talent. Another world-class talent there is great to see in the starting 11, Raheem Sterling. That's not a name we've been too familiar to see in that starting 11. It's a great opportunity for him to, I guess, really kind of come back after the international break and maybe solidify a starting spot, Richard. Yeah, I'm sure he just wants that consistency of playing on a regular basis, and you get the opportunity today. It's about taking it then and showing the manager that, you know, I'm fresh, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to start my season. And I think for a lot of the English players, it's been tough after the Euros in the summer. There's been a lot of fatigue for a lot of them. You've seen John Stones has been rested quite regularly. So now coming into the Christmas period, the most, I suppose, important period and busy period of the year, to keep all those players like Sterling, Stones coming in fresh, it's beneficial to the team, to the squad, and hopefully they'll now
hit the ground running, and we've got no international breaks till March, so it's a great run of club games for them to find some great form.
And I guess with Raheem as well, I think, sometimes maybe because we know the high expectations we have for him, you expect him to come in and just play at that level straight away, but he does sometimes, well, strikes me as a bit of a player that needs to find that momentum and get it, not that he kind of needs it, but to reach his top level, to get a rhythm.
Yeah,
so
of course.
important.
I think the players do need that. But yeah, it's, again, credit to him. And we're used to seeing such a high level, like, I think he's averaged 20 goals every season since he's been here, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, again, for him to continually do that is difficult for any player. We've seen Kevin have a similar impact in terms of his form dipping to the standards that he's set himself.
Yes.
So, as I said, we can't always expect every player to operate at their best every week. But for him to be back in the team, there'll be no defender, regardless of what form he's in, there'll be no defender that will be looking forward to facing him.
Yes, yeah.
No way, because he's always going to be that fast.
Yeah, and that's, yeah.
No matter how he's playing, he's always going to be that fast. And if his confidence is higher, he may be a little bit faster, because that happens as well. You do feel a bit stronger, a bit faster. So in regards to that, no one's going to enjoy playing against him.
Nice. Final word, because one player who's actually started all of our Premier League games so far, I think he's the only one under Pep Guardiola, João Cancelo. Now, Richard, I mean, you had a little spell at right back, moved over to centre-half. I mean...
Slightly different.
Slightly different, but he has really... I was talking to my dad about this, but he almost seems to have reinvented what a fullback does and can do with his ability. Would you think that would be fair to say?
Yeah, I don't know if he is a fullback. I don't know where he is. To me, he's, I don't know, the defensive equivalent of a number 10. He just goes and play makes wherever he wants, and he sort of, you look at normally a number 6 and say a number 6 would link the whole team together. Well, City's left back links the whole side together because he can be on any area of the pitch. He can create from anywhere. His passing is ridiculous. His dribbling's brilliant.
Yeah.
But he's never out of position defensively. He's always back where he needs to be. So his understanding of the game's insane. He's so intelligent and so nice to watch as well. He's so fluid when he moves and how he kicks the ball. And yeah, I love when he plays because he's just a joy. You don't know where he's going to pop up.
Yeah, you don't. And I guess then for the opponents, you don't really know. I don't know how you defend against someone like João Cancelo.
Yeah, again, that's a credit to him as well, is the fact that teams will have to set up to combat him as a defender. And I can't think of many defenders that have had that, probably Ashley Cole, at a period of time where you were setting up a more defensive right winger because you knew he'd get forward and contribute. So it's a massive plus to have that in your squad, be able to get forward, contribute. And like she said, he's so comfortable anywhere. There's not many defenders that are that comfortable. Well, there's none. No. I can remember. Probably Philippe Lahm.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that comfortable in advanced positions. Like defensive half, yes, very comfortable. But to be that composed, is remarkable. Remarkable.
Also, as well, just for people, and this will seem like an obvious question, obviously he's traditionally a right back and a right-sided player, so not only is he kind of doing what he's doing, but doing it on the other side of the pitch, that also must take another level of ability, or not.
Yeah, it does, 100% it does. But I wouldn't label him with a position. He's a footballer.
Yeah.
He's just a footballer that understands the game, technically very, very good, and them combined means you can operate in multiple positions.
Yeah. Do you know as well, there was a great clip from Jack Grealish talking about him, saying that he's actually the most skillful player in the squad, which
doesn't surprise me.
There's a lot of skillful players in there as well, isn't there? Looking at kind of our form now, and kind of as we come into, as you said, Richard, we've had kind of that last international break, so it's a good run now. Looking at the top of the table, we've seen Chelsea pick up points again yesterday. Liverpool have picked up points. We have, though, now played, I think, Chelsea away from home. We played Liverpool away from home. We've played United away from home. And we've also played Spurs away from home. Out of those top 3-4 teams...
United don't count.
Yeah, well, there we go.
They don't count.
Sorry for all the... it's tough over on the other side of Manchester at the moment, isn't it? But would you say we're maybe in the strongest position as we move into now these next 4 months with no international break?
Obviously, in terms of the fixture list, you look and you go, they're all coming here, so you would fancy yourself. But I think when you're looking at the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea, home or away, it doesn't make too much of a difference to them because of the way and the style of football that they play. You've seen Man City go to Chelsea and they went to Anfield and they dominated. Basically, I mean, the game at Anfield was brilliant.
Yes.
Really exciting match. And I think them three teams are on a completely different level to the rest of the Premier League. And whether they play home or away, it's not going to make too much of a difference. The one thing you would say is if it becomes an intense match, like a really high-profile game where you've got the fans going crazy and the atmosphere is amazing, it will give City that little bit extra. It won't so much change what Liverpool or Chelsea will do, but potentially could add that bit more to City.
And how impressed have you been with those games? I mean, the Stamford Bridge performance for me, I think, is one of the most complete performances I've ever seen from a City team. But how, to do what we've done, and within that week we also went to the Parc des Princes to play PSG. I know we lost. But do you think this is the most complete we've seen City play away from home? At those, even the Liverpool
performance, just home or away, that is the best performance I have seen, because I really enjoy watching Chelsea as well. I think they're a really good team, really organised, but they were dominated in every aspect of the game. And let's not forget, we're coming off the back of, 3 or 4 defeats to Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel. So, yeah, that performance for me, and to echo what Richard said, them teams, it doesn't really matter whether it's home or away. These are the games, these are the teams that it kind of matters against, because Everton's, the mid-table teams and teams to avoid relegation, don't come here thinking they can win. Yeah. They come here not to lose. Yeah, and that is dangerous for us, because we're susceptible to a counter-attack. We're not going to concede a goal to a counter-attack against Liverpool or Chelsea, because they believe they're as good as us and dominate and want to dominate as much as we do. So, again, the bigger teams, so-called teams, I don't worry about at home or away, because I think it's going to be two teams wanting to win, playing to win, and just an exciting game. And 9 times out of 10 we come out on top. But when it's the teams that are trying to avoid a defeat, that's when I get more scared.
Who could you see being in the top 4 now then? I think obviously there's a whole lot of change that's coming to the other side of Manchester. But, I mean, who are in it for you, Richard? And then maybe come to you, Joleon.
Certainly the 3 now.
Yeah. That 4th spot
it's great, but you look like, for the Premier League itself, someone like West Ham being able to compete and get into that, you look at their players, like Declan Rice is one of the best players in the league. They've got so much going for them at the moment, and they've not had that pleasure of being a Champions League team, so it'll be amazing for them and amazing for the league. But I think the difference between 3rd and 4th in the Premier League is massive. Yeah. Whoever comes 4th is not going to challenge to win the league, I don't think. But certainly those 3, and then after that they can scrap it out for themselves.
Yeah, again, I totally agree. Like, it's remarkable that, and I've never thought about it like that, that the 3rd to 4th is a massive gap. Yeah. Massive. It's arguably as big as any gap in the league. Yeah. Like, the 3 teams and the standard that they've set, the quality of football that we see them play is so different to everyone else. They have moments of it, but not able to produce it like regular. So top 4, I would have said United at the start of the league, at the start of the season, due to them finishing 2nd.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm going to have to go with Conte and Spurs. I just think he's going to have something about him to create a style and identity for them. Because I think that's what it takes now. I think the 3 managers of the teams that we spoke about have created a structure, a philosophy that suits their players, and it's shown that the level's gone up. It's not just about having good players and potentially winning. It's about, great players, a great manager, great system, and then you get success. Just
quickly off that, because I know you both kind of coach as well, obviously, and you kind of work with a whole group of ages. How difficult is it to build and then install a philosophy that you think is the way a team should be playing football? Can you do it with any team, or do you also require a bit of personnel? Is it difficult to kind of create what those managers have created at the respective clubs?
Yeah, I think when you look at those clubs, and Chelsea, Liverpool and ourselves, and you look and you go, oh, that's the Man City way, or that's the Liverpool way. Well, it's not really. It's the Pep way, the Klopp way, and the Tuchel way. Yeah. It's like Man United have been looking for the Man United way. It doesn't exist. Yeah. It's the manager who decides what it is and stuff like that. And I think, I've been coaching kids, and for me, it's about a system is a system, but then giving them details and giving them sort of how do you go and play football? You play it with intensity, you play it to win and stuff like that, and then over a time, then you develop your tactical side of it, but getting your sort of your identity is we want to fight, we want to press, we want to push, that sort of stuff, and then you add the skills and the details with the talented players that come your way.
It's so interesting. I'm also asking that because, I mean, a slightly different period, Richard, and we set this up just before. But, no, and that's why I was asking about home form. But obviously, I think obviously you want the stadium to feel like a fortress. And there was a time, Richard, I'm sure you remember, maybe not don't want to remember. We weren't quite a fortress, but under that Stuart Pearce period, I mean, I think it was, we actually only scored 10 goals at home all season. And I think it was we were saying from New Year till the end of the season. I remember we came every game, didn't see a goal at home. What was that like for, the players at the time and to be in that team? Because that must have been tough.
We couldn't even score in training. It was awful.
Really? Yeah.
It was so bad. Like, the confidence was so shot, and like, honestly, you come here and you believe we're going to win, but then the match starts, you go, well, we're not, because we can't score. So it became difficult, and just the belief is gone. And I think we missed penalties, we got balls kicked off the line, but whatever happened, you could see a shot and you go, he's got to save it.
Yeah.
So we just never had the belief. So it was a case of, we need to do something else. So we needed to be we needed to be very solid defensively, and we ended up, I think, the season with 29 goals, which was the lowest for 100 years in the lowest ever in City's history, but in English football's history.
Survive?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine, in your case, having to pay and come and watch us never score.
I don't know how that's possible. Like, that is some achievement, to not score.
I know.
It's like you must be purposely trying not to score. Yeah.
But that's, I guess, why as well, because, for instance, you look at someone like Salah, and when you kind of, on the opposite side of that, when you're in a good moment and you're thinking, gosh, you get the ball to the final third, it's going to hit the back of the net. It can happen on the other side, and like you said, then when it trickles into training, you must just think, what can we do? I mean, how did you even, were there attempts of you trying to even break out of it, do different, I don't know, styles, tactics?
No, I don't think it's something that you even registers, because it's like New Year's Day, you win the game 2-1 at home, and great, and then the next game you don't score, then you don't score again, then you don't, and then it's like, all right.
But also at this time, I'm guessing you were scoring
away.
Yeah. So it kind of supersedes the fact that you're not scoring. You're thinking, well, we are scoring.
Yeah.
So what is it?
It's just something here.
Yeah.
Well,
crazy.
It's great for us to kind of actually have you to it, because being a young Joleon Lescott, by the way, because this was the last time I think we scored that season, was a New Year's Day, against Everton, winning 2-1. Do you remember the game?
I remember George Samra scored the 2 goals, and obviously, I'm sure for him, a centre forward, and he's starting this brand new year, brilliant, everything's going to be fantastic. I've already got 2 goals, and then that was it. I think finished with it. Yeah. So it's difficult. It's difficult to understand why it happened or how it happened, because we weren't, like, to not score a goal and not get relegated is incredible.
It's unbelievable.
Do you know what I mean? So we weren't really a terribly bad side, because we could go away and win games. So it was just such a unique situation.
You only scored 29 goals. So what was the goal difference for that season? Because there's 8 games you haven't scored in.
Yeah.
So and if you scored 2 in one game, that means there's more games.
I think we beat Fulham away 3-0 or 3-1 or something. So like, when we won well, 2-0, 3-0, whatever. So there's probably 20 games where we not scored.
You think as well, Richard, probably angling here as well. At the back of the pitch, they were doing the job.
Yeah.
I mean,
you weren't conceded. You know what I mean? You were conceded. We're just trying to figure out what year that was. Was it the 5th out of the 5? Or was it the 1st?
There was many to choose from. But do you remember that game as well for you, a young Joleon?
I didn't remember it until then, but I'm just glad I wasn't at fault for any of them goals. I'm sick of seeing this footage of me being at fault. But no, to be fair, I used to enjoy the games against City at Everton. I think I scored about 3 goals against City as well.
It's funny that you say that, Joleon. Well.
You got 2 in one match, did you?
Yeah, that was against Everton. This was against... Is this against Joe Hart?
I think it was.
No, yeah. Because I scored against Joe.
Oh, hello.
Finish, yeah. It's a great finish, that. Ghost. I think Dunne was marking me.
You're thinking that he won't score from there?
Yeah. No, but to be fair, I think this is the season I...
Was that Arteta that played the ball? Who was it? Yeah.
Nadum. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're getting that after the game.
Through his legs. What was Arteta like to play with?
Very good. What surprised me was... he shifted. So when I first went there and I was playing left back, which I didn't particularly enjoy, he was left wing. going past players very easy, with ease and stuff. And then he went into the holding midfield role, and I was like, I'm not sure. Wow. So comfy. Just like, but not just, you know he's comfortable in possession, but the other side of the game as well. He kind of played the game, or played that position, how Pep wants Rodri to play. I'm not going to go in and smash every tackle, but we're not going to have to, because we're going to have to ball more, because the build, I want to build up the play and stuff. And he was so good in that role. He wanted to play there way before he'd actually given the role, but when he got it, really good.
Took it to a whole new level. Love that, gents. Thank you. We've got Joleon, Lescott and Richard Dunne with me here in the Matchday Live studio. If you've just tuned in, let me bring you our starting 11. You can see it on the bottom of the screen there, but it is Edison in goal. We've got Kyle Walker, John Stones, Aymeric Laporte and João Cancelo at the back. Rodrigo is holding. Ilkay Gundogan captains the side alongside Bernardo, we think, in that three. And you can see him there in his yellow bib next to someone in an orange bib. Both of them starting, Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer. And that man behind them, doing the back heel, keepy uppies, Phil Foden completes that starting 11. On the bench, Zach Stefan, Scott Carson, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake, Gabriel Jesus, Oli Zinchenko, Fernandinho, Riyad Mahrez and James McAtee. If you've just joined, you're probably really enjoying the sight of Cole Palmer starting. Do you think we could see him maybe getting one of his trademark goals today, Joleon, possibly?
It's a big ask. And I think it wouldn't surprise me, because he's obviously a talent, he's playing for Man City, but I just hope we don't put the Phil Foden expectation on him too early.
Yes.
I just don't think I hope we don't just say, well, Phil's done it, so why can't Cole do it? Like, they're going to be different. There are different stages of their career. So be patient. But if he does, it wouldn't surprise me, because that is when he has got that knack of something you can't teach. You know, when someone's so composed in the final third, it's like he takes a touch here and he knows exactly what he's doing before it's happened. He's like, I've been here before.
Yeah,
I'm going to do this. And so if you give an opportunity in that situation, he'll finish, but let's not expect him to score.
I guess that's important as well now, because, you know, what we're actually seeing now is a conveyor belt of, I think, starting to come through of academy products. We've got James McAtee on the bench as well, who's highly thought of. So I guess actually what you're saying there, Johnny, is so right, but it's not just for Cole. This is going to be from here on out. We have to do this with all our young players coming through. Richard, is just give them the time and not put that expectation on them straight away.
Yeah, and it's probably different to when me and Joleon were coming through. We're coming through, me at Everton and you at Wolves, where we're not competing against the best players in the world. These kids are. They're coming through into Man City, who's expected to win the Champions League, who's expected to win the league. So instantly, you have to play in that team. You have to be one of the best players in the world. So it takes time, and the fact that you're getting young lads from Manchester being able to get this chance to come and play now at City, experience their dreams, but give them time, give them the chance to develop and lower the expectation, because they've got time. They've got so much time to have an amazing career here, and one game early on in their career doesn't define what you're going to be.
Absolutely. There was a great bit as well, I think we were speaking about a couple of weeks ago. I think after one of his cameos, Pep was talking up Cole Palmer, but he kind of, you know, waxed superlative about him, then like finished it off by going, but he is still an academy player. And I think that's a good kind of, you need them reality checks, I guess, from your manager, just to go, remember where you're at, you've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, of course, and that wasn't probably for him, it was for everyone else that isn't aware of him. And again, he's going to just naturally compare him to Phil Foden, and it's going to be great for him because they're close friends, but also it could potentially hinder him. So again, the balance has to be right. But like I said, he's an exciting player. He's obviously deserves his place in the team. He's keeping up Mahrez, who I love to watch and see and can contribute. Jesus, he's on the bench, so he's keeping out, like Richard said, world-class talent. So he has to be, obviously, have some level of ability to perform.
I think the fact that he went over and scored a hat-trick for the under-23s after coming on here tells you a lot about his personality. And I think that's very important, because if you're a young lad coming through and you think, I've made it now, the likelihood is that you've not. You know, you need to be humble about it, and he certainly seems to have that.
One thing I can say about him is he loves football. His obsession is similar to Phil's. That's where I would compare them, is that just give him a ball. He always wants to play, he always wants to kick and have touches of a football. So that the fact that he played for the first team and then went and played for 23 didn't surprise me, because I know how much he loves and just wants to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, gents. That is the a little focus on Manchester City, and there he is, a familiar face to us all here at Manchester City. A man who will always remind us of the basics of football. Fabian Delph. He is, of course, he actually started in Everton's last game before the international break, and he's starting again. We can bring you Everton's starting 11 now, of course, as chosen by Rafa Benitez. It's there on your screen. Pickford in net. At the back, Coleman, Keane, Godfrey and Digne. You've got Gordon, Allen and Delph. And it's looking like that forward three. Richarlison, I'm guessing, down the middle with Damari Gray and Andros Townsend either side. Joleon, first thoughts on that Everton starting 11? I mean, it's a good team.
Yeah, strong team. Again, another player. Worked with Anthony Gordon. Played in the same team as Cole a couple of weeks ago. So, exceptional, exciting talent, should I say. Very fast and direct. So, Kyle Walker best be aware because he likes to run at people.
Okay.
So that'll be good to watch. But yeah, there's no surprises in there. And if they perform as Benitez wants, it'll be a tough game for Everton. As I said, they're resilient, hard to break down, or can be, and I'm sure that'll be the game plan today.
And as you said, I think at the start of the show, we've seen how he kind of wants to play as Rafa Benitez as he did at Newcastle. That could sometimes be our undoing, isn't it? When we've pressed and pressed and pressed, and then in the quick counter we've seen us concede some goals. And when you look at, well, you've said Gordon's rapid, Damari Gray, we've seen he's had a great start with Everton, Richarlison. They will have to be aware of that today, I think, won't we, Richard?
They will, yeah. And Townsend seems to score against us as well when he comes here, so he's got a few goals as well. So they've got a really good base in people like Coleman, Keane, Delph and Allen, who will keep them solid. And them other ones have the talent to cause anyone trouble. So, like Joleon says, everyone, not just Kyle Walker, everyone has to be on their toes, because if Everton get a chance, they won't look back. They'll go straight forward, and because they know it might be one chance. Yeah. It's not going to be 5, 6, 7 chances. So they'll be determined to make the most of it when it comes. I mean,
he's injured, and they've got a few injuries, unfortunately. Sorry, that's one of the best goals I've actually ever seen at the Etihad.
Yeah, you can't complain about losing to a game to a goal of that calibre. That's ridiculous.
No.
I wouldn't even try that in training.
I
wouldn't even try it.
We also, I think, all loved his celebration against United, didn't we, Andros Townsend? That was absolutely genius. But I mean, they have got a couple of injuries mentioned at the start of the show. No Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That's a big loss for them, isn't it, Joleon?
And a big plus for us.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, when I think it was one of his debut games, and start of the season, him and Wayne Rooney were up front, and Wayne scored, but he got man of the match. He give Vinny a good run for his money, kind of thing. He's, again, working with him, he's so athletic, so fast, loves the contact as well. So he's an all-round striker, and again, there won't be many defenders that would enjoy playing against him. Have
we seen, just as spectators of the sport, have we seen actually where the potential of where Dominic Calvert-Lewin can go for you for your money, Joleon?
No, again, I think as time goes on, he'll contribute more because he's an athlete as well as a good technical player. But again, he can play the role in so many different ways, which is not normal for strikers. You tend to identify them with a certain type and style. But for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he can play various ways and contribute to his team, whether he's isolated or whether it's build up and short term. And we've seen under Carlo Ancelotti the goals he was scoring. It went from running from halfway line and beating a couple of players to just tap-ins, and the art he's been in the position, and he's developed that as well.
And on the other side of the pitch, Richard, I mean, obviously, Yerry Mina, I think, is another one, unfortunately, on the injury list. But I do look at that back four again. You know, I think Godfrey is still young, but coming up, and you've got, season pro in Coleman, Michael Keane as well. They can be solid, can't they? I think when it goes right for them, very tough to break down.
Yeah, I really like Godfrey. I think he's a very good player who just improves year on year, and probably in England international of the future. But when you look at Everton, you look at Benitez and people like Coleman who will follow the manager's lead wherever he says he'll follow it. Keane the same, Fabian Delph the same, and Allen. They will keep them solid through that middle and make them difficult to break down. And then with Lucas Digne, you have someone who can deliver a cross, who can deliver a corner, wherever it may be, and cause you trouble. So the one thing that Everton will be is very, very organised. So it's not going to be a case of a bit of a free-for-all for City. They're going to have to work hard for their chances, but it's just the movement of that City team. Just I look at any defence in the Premier League and I fear for them because the movement's so good.
Yeah, it's completely interchangeable as well, absolutely. Also, one other player that we have to focus on, well, two actually, because you might have spied if you've caught them warming up. Jordan Pickford and Edison have been given some special gloves by Puma. I think we can show you them here. They are the old golden gloves, which, as we know, that's the award that's handed out at the end of every season. I think Edison has actually kind of got a record amount since he joined Manchester City. But safe pair of hands in both them keepers, I guess, really. I think Pickford as well, we even saw in the Euros.
I think that's what they're for. I think they're both for their contributions to the national team, even though Edison has got it numerous times for Man City. But yeah, I think this is, again, possibly the most telling time for Pickford, with Ramsdale being able to and showcase what he can do at the top tier as well. So, top goalie, but it's probably the most telling time to his England career.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely little addition there from Puma. Right, let's take a look at today's Cryptic City. That WhatsApp number on the bottom of the screen, that's how you can send us your guesses. Remember as well, you can get your questions in for our guests as well. Producer Daryl, who's infamous now in the Cryptic City world.
Yet to be.
He sent a good one. So, I mean, I tell you what, we've got Big Richard Dunne there in action. I mean,
what is that? Is that a tackle? Is that
it's assault.
Yeah, back to say.
Letting Omri know, Richard.
Yeah, you know it.
Handballed as well. We never forget. Okay.
I know.
But don't say it because I got it.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I did that once. Said it straight away.
I want to say it.
Have you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, Richard straight in. Nice. All right. Okay.
Daryl's beaten again. I love it. I just love that he's beaten so early.
He's behind the camera. He's absolutely. If we could have a camera turn on him now, we would. All right. So Richard's got it. If you think you've got it as well, use that WhatsApp number, get it in, and then we'll be looking at some of your guesses at half-time, revealing the answer at full-time. Two managers now. Usually, there's not many managers that Pep hasn't come up against quite a few times. But in Rafa Benitez, who you just assumed two legends of the game, have played against each other a lot. I think this is only going to be like their fourth time meeting, but two stalwarts of the game, and you forget Rafa Benitez as the kind of his career speaks for himself, Joleon.
Yeah, again, testament to management and the Premier League as well, and you don't tend to get to the numbers that he has if you're not good at your job, regardless of what level you're operating. So, like you said, testament to him and his dedication, because he's faced different generations. That means evolving as a manager and as a person. So, I'm sure he's seen things he's not agreed with, because that tends to be the thing when older managers see younger players coming through. The habits and drivers that these younger players have tend to frustrate older managers. So again, a credit to him.
Can you see any of the ways he's kind of had to? It's quite interesting to say that, because obviously he's played through generations, Rafa Benitez, probably more so than Pep, that he's had to change to his philosophy throughout the season. Maybe what he's been doing with Newcastle and Everton you haven't seen before, possibly.
Yeah, and obviously different situations. He's managed the Newcastle side without money, without a lack of depth really in the squad, and come to Everton probably expecting a few quid and not had a lot to spend again, but a higher quality of players. So I think he's been very successful, obviously, at Liverpool with a great squad, and he's got the most out of the squads that he's got, that he's used. He's probably he's not going to be ever in the same level as Pep, because he's not invented football sort of in a new way and given us something that we all want to watch and see, but he's very, very effective with the teams that he coaches.
Do you think as well that maybe if more time at Newcastle and maybe a little bit more money, we might have even seen a better Newcastle? Because I think he did a great job with that team personally.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange one, that, because in contrast to the Steve Bruce era, like, I think their records are very similar, like over the same period of time. So the fact that he's kind of lauded and Steve Bruce is kind of like the baddie is surprising to me. But yeah, I think if you give him time to develop and build a squad, history predicts that he will be successful to a certain extent. Whether he would have got them to challenging for titles you don't know. You just can't say. But in terms of improving squads, like Richard said, I think he's continuously developed the squads he's had.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Can just have just been told in my ear as well. There they are saying hello. In previous fixtures, but on the WhatsApp number, some runs already rolling in for Cryptic City, and it would seem none of you quite got the guesses in the locker like Richard Dunne has.
I think I've got
quite a few wrong answers. You think you've got it as well?
Yeah.
You know, if you don't, Okay.
I think I've got it. Yeah.
All right, Joleon's got it as well. We'll keep
No,
them coming in
that's
as well.
what I
And your questions, of course, to our guests as well. If you've got them, I'll try and put them to them. If not by the end of this show, half-time and full-time 110%. Now, one player who's not in the starting 11, but he is on our bench, Gabriel Jesus. Now, we've kind of covered him a little bit this season so far. Maybe not highlighted him enough, but we're going to highlight him today because he's actually he's one of those players who loves scoring against Everton. That's one of his teams. He's scored 8 goals in 8 games against them. We're going to play through them now. He's come on and scored 3 of those as well. He's having a great season, but it might be nice to see maybe come on and grab another one today, Joleon.
Yeah, Jesus, what took him kind of south, said he wanted to play on a more wider role. But yeah, goal contribution against Everton especially has been unreal. Yeah, great finish. Again, another player that I don't think defenders would enjoy playing against. He enjoys working off the ball, which is never a good thing to play against as a defender. Like that there, there's not many strikers going in for that. There's not many people that want to get involved in that.
I think he's done well in terms of he's said at the start of the season, I want to play wide right, and that instantly took the pressure away from him to score goals, and he scored more goals almost because he's not expected to.
So true. Yeah.
And the goal he scored against Chelsea, I would say, he's probably the only player in the squad that takes that shot on. Because we all talk about, do we need a striker? I don't think the number of goals we're going to score this season or a striker wouldn't impact that. We'll score a high number of goals to win any league, any game. But the types of goals it may, like the goal against Chelsea with his back to goal, only strikers shoot there.
Yes,
swivel on it and just not even a chance. It's just a case of, I just want to get a shot off.
Yes,
Midfielders and forwards want to see the goal. They want it to be a little bit more perfect than it actually may be, and maybe not take a shot. Where Jesus, I think he's still got that striker's instinct of, I just want to shoot. If I'm in the box, I want to shoot.
And not just the goals, though, his involvement in the goals as well, Joe. I think, especially since he's moved out wide, and I think obviously a couple of seasons, I've definitely particularly noticed he kind of seems to have grown in strength a little bit, grown in stature. He's still got that Brazilian flair as well, and we do reap the rewards of his in the build-up play as well, which is another element to his game I think he's added.
Yeah, and I think it was Alan Shearer who was probably one of the best crossers of the ball as a centre forward because they know where they want it, and him having played there for so long, when he gets wide right, the whip that he puts on it and the positioning of where the ball finishes is normally spot on. I think that just comes from, if I was on the other end of this is where I'd want it.
Yes,
so,
He's
got the skills, he's got talent, he can turn left, right, his hips just like jelly, they move around and they make me fall off my chair watching him. But he's, so I'm delighted for him because he's had a hard time sometimes, and it's nice for him to be having such a good run.
I mean, I think he's one of the players who's coming into those last 18 months of his contract, but I know for me as a fan, I think is one that you'd want to tie down again for the next 5 years. Because again, I still don't think he's even reached his full potential.
No, of course not. What is he, 24?
I think
he's not going to reach his potential at 24. Not many players do. So, tie all of them down. There's no player in this squad that you're thinking could see him leaving, or we could do without him, or he wouldn't be a miss. You know what I mean? So again, in terms of Jesus, tie him down. He's always going to have that comparison to Sergio, especially when Sergio was here. So hopefully now that's gone, he can just relax and just feel like I'm just going to play when called upon I can contribute.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can bring you a little shot. We heard from Sean Goethe before, and you might also recognise a man there who stood over to his right as well, the City goalkeeping legend Nicky Weaver. Sean is a part of our commentary team today with Alistair Mann, which you can get on the app. It's actually, do you know what? If you're a City fan as well, I'd say that is the commentary. It's great how you can link it up to if you're watching the game, however you're watching it, get that commentary on the side. And obviously, as we know, Sean's always is a great laugh as well, great insight at times as well. So get involved with that. Nicky Weaver as well, was he quite a character, Richard?
Yeah, he was brilliant. I've not seen him for a while, and I've just seen him down that City Square, so that was nice. But he was brilliant. He had such a tough time with injuries, and he ended up, I think he got a dead man's cartilage put into him and stuff like that.
Really?
It was such a long-winded injury for him. So, but eventually he got back playing, and he's working in at Sheffield Wednesday now. So, it's great for him.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I think there could be a documentary in that, couldn't there? Nicky Weaver's dead man's cartilage.
That sounds like a name of a film.
It really does. You got that the City Plus team now. I like that. Go right. Let's write this. Type this script up. Let's have a little bit of fun now in the studio. So I mentioned at the start of the show a good old traditional game of higher or lower. We're going to play it with you guys here in the studio. So this is how it works now. We're going to show you players that have played for both City and for Everton. But what we're asking you to break it down is appearances for City only. So it's not going to be in with their Everton appearances. You just need to tell me whether the next player has had more or less, higher or lower appearances than that previous player. And you can, of course, be joining in at home on WhatsApp. So we're going to give you the first one. We're going to begin, I think, on the left with Fabian Delph at 89. Now, Joleon, just because you're next to me, I'm going to start with you. Now, if you get it wrong, we'll then go to Richard. So, up, higher. Can you name the player there?
Kanchelskis, yeah. I thought that.
Higher or lower appearances for City than Fabian Delph?
I don't know. Yeah, lower. Lower.
We're going to say lower. Let's find out. 11 well played. Okay, well straight up. You're still in the game, Joleon. Still in the game. Going. You're still in the game.
This has got to be higher. Tony Duggan. She's got to play more than 10 games, 11 games.
Straight up. Absolutely correct. 75.
This is where it gets spicy.
No, I'm going to need the... I can't work out who this next player is. Gallery, can... Peter Reid.
I could see that one. Even, I know.
Peter...
Get yourself to Specsavers. Peter... I'd say greatest respect to Peter Reid. I didn't even know he played for Man City.
I think you need to do your homework before the show, Joleon.
If you give me the pictures.
Looking at producer Darryl.
Yeah.
I'm
going to give Richard a go, so I'm going to say...
Richard,
higher.
You'd say, which would you go for, Rich? Do you think higher as well for Peter Reid for Manchester City?
Yeah, go higher.
You go higher. Let's have a little look.
I kind of got that right.
It's 114.
Jesus.
Okay, John Stones for Manchester City.
He's got to be higher. Higher appearances for City. Then 114, yeah.
Sounds confident.
Yeah, it's got to be higher.
173, big one. Now for yourself, Joleon.
I'm going to say lower.
You're going to say lower?
Yeah.
Straight and
I think
quick.
this is his 6th season.
Do you know how many appearances you had for City?
Lower than that. I'm going to say lower anyway.
Let's have a little look. That's not far off, though. 160.
I'm going to say higher for Dunne.
Would you agree, Richard? Higher than 160 for yourself?
Yeah.
Has to be.
Say one player 19 times in a row.
Wow. 352.
Now, this is where it gets spicy because Gareth Barry played a lot of games. It's got to be lower than that, though.
What would you say for that one for Gareth Barry?
It's got to be lower
Richard?
than that.
I think he played over 500 Premier League games, didn't he?
He did.
But I think the majority of them would have been for Villa.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, he played 700 games. Something stupid.
Yeah, it was huge, wasn't it?
He's
most cap player, isn't he?
Yeah, most appearances, and most of them are starts as well. It's not appearances. They're like 94% starts. I'm going to say lower, though.
You're going to say lower? Yeah, okay. Low for Manchester City. That was good methodology.
Yeah.
175.
I would have said fine here, Joleon.
Yeah.
You are. Jill Scott now. I mean, club legend.
She's been a while, yeah. She's been a while.
She's been here a while. She's gone away, come back as well.
A couple of times.
175, though, is still a big number.
It is. I'm going to say lower. I'm going to say lower.
Ooh, there's a slight exhale there.
I can't lose out the last two, can I? I'm going to say lower.
Let's have a look. Oh, you nearly made it to the end. So Richard for the final two.
Yeah.
Jill Scott 191.
Andy Hinchcliffe?
Yeah.
I think it is indeed Andy Hinchcliffe. Well played,
I used to
Richard.
play in his boots at Everton.
No way,
Yeah.
really?
So, and I think he played more for Everton.
Than he did for City.
That's not what the game is, though, Richard. Is he played more than 191?
Oh, sugar, yeah.
How can that be
less?
Yeah.
You're going to go less. Here we go. Andy Hinchcliffe for Manchester City. Well played, 139. Can you take us? Well, of course, a man you know so well, Sylvan Distam.
Player.
Great. That partnership.
He's a legend for both clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we think there? Higher up? It's a tricky. 139 is a tricky number, isn't it? Really.
He never missed many games, Sylvan. He was always really fit. But I think he was only there for 4 years, was he?
So 4.
So you get
4
40,
times 4 is 160. If he
Is it?
plays every game for 4 seasons, like 134 2 games. 132.
We thinking.
If he played every game for 4 years. I'm saying no.
You're going to say you think
I'm
lower?
going to say, yeah.
I'll go higher.
You go higher to mix it up.
Yeah.
Love that. Here we go. Bit of jeopardy. Here we go. Sylvan Distan. 206.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have been more than 4
But
years.
Jedi mind should be that.
I mean, he went all over as well. But what was he like to play with as well? I mean, he was a great man, was he, Richard?
He was brilliant. Yeah, he was so professional and just like he'd be the first one in, the last one out, and even I think as he got older,
Have you seen him now?
he wanted to get fitter and faster.
Have you not seen what he does? How he trains now?
No,
Really,
Wow.
still.
He's an instructor, isn't he? Now?
Yeah, wow, he's something.
Yeah, I think
like
he's
Iron Man, something like that. He's crazy on social.
Formidable, wasn't I think at times?
Unbelievable
The
player.
beast.
He was so good. He should have played for France, and I don't know why. And he was the goal that he scored. Remember against Aston Villa when he just kicked the past the guy and just sprinted. He was incredible. He was very talented.
Very talented. One of probably the best tweet ever. When he retired from international football, having no caps, he said, "That's my retirement." Never got called up. Best tweet ever.
But I mean, it was something similar. It's like, look, with Laporte, do you know what I mean? Everyone kind of really, he's had to then make the move to the Spain squad. It can be a funny one, can't it? Then trying to get your international cap.
And he's not playing for some bogus nation. Like at the time, it was probably who Leboeuf, was it? Blanc.
Yeah.
There was some talent. France have had some talented players. So it's timing and a bit of luck. Bit of luck
Indeed. If you've just joined us, we've not got too long till we kick off in our game against Everton. We can bring you the team news as well. And there's an old familiar face as well to City fans. Much loved here as well. Fabian Delph, who's now, of course, at Everton. He's starting for Everton. Zinchenko is on the bench for Manchester City. Our starting 11 consists of Edison, Walker, Stones. Also with Laporte and João Cancelo, Rodri holds. We also have Gundogan captain the side next to Bernardo Silva, and a forward three of Raheem Sterling, Cole Palmer and Phil Foden. How great do you think it would be to get for Raheem Sterling to get on the score sheet today for himself?
Amazing. A emotional week. Obviously started his foundation. He's in my fantasy team, so it's important he does score. But no, again, he's not received criticism, because no one can criticise him because he's contributed so much. But I just think he's obviously found this period a bit more difficult than previous, and again, like we've touched on, not hit the standard or the level that we've seen throughout his time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right, now just before we go, we're going to take one last look at Cryptic City. You can get your guesses in, which we'll look at half-time, full-time. Just confirm for yourself, because I know Richard was straight in there quick on the Cryptic City today. Joleon, you think you've got it?
The first two. I'm trying to figure out this.
We've had four.
Can we say what the
answers.
last one is? What, the picture of?
Yeah, well, I think the last one is, I wanted to say... Go on, Joleon.
Not the clue, just what the picture is.
Yeah, ER.
ER.
It is ER,
okay.
that's right,
ER. Yeah.
Or it could be George Clooney, if you wanted to spice it
Yeah,
up.
because Darryl does some weird ones. ER.
Bang Bees. Okay, yeah.
That's through me.
Okay, come back. I don't know.
I haven't gone to Bang of Bees.
It's no, that's right. It's not a bag of bees. Get those guesses in. We've had four already. Richard has got the correct answer, so we can see how they compare at half time, at full time. So there are the boys ready for commentary, which you can get in the app. We're going to hand over to them in just a second. But let's quickly get predictions from our guests in the studio. That man there on the left, Sean Go to us 3-0. Joleon,
I'm going to say 2-0.
2-0 to Manchester City.
Yeah, I said the same out in City Square. I just think Everton are really well organised, so it's not going to be probably a massively exciting game, unfortunately. But City have so much talent that they've got the ability to score two, hopefully 5.
Yeah, we'll take the 2. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, come join us at half-time and full-time. Boys are in the tunnel ready to come out. Thanks so much for joining us on Matchday Live. The app is the next place you want to go to for our Matchday commentary from Alistair Mann, who's joined by Sean. Go to, you can sync that up to however you're watching the game. Well worth doing that, and we shall see you all at half-time. Thank you for joining us. Grab a brew. Come on, City.